The shot fractured the quiet evening like a bomb. I heard the scream before I saw the blood. My 12-year-old daughter, Lily, collapsed on the pavement, clutching her leg as red soaked through her jeans. And standing there, hands still trembling around a smoking pistol, was HOA Karen. "Your daughter violated HOA rules," she shrieked, her voice shaking with a madness I had never seen before. "Kids can't ride scooters after 7 p.m. I warned her. I didn't see the neighborhood or the streetlights or the neighbors frozen in shock. I only saw my daughter bleeding and the woman who pulled the trigger. Karen didn't know who I was. She didn't know my past. She didn't know she had just shot the daughter of a former Navy SEAL trained to end threats quietly and permanently. And tonight, she triggered a war she could never win. Before we dive into this story, I want to ask you, which city are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel across the USA. And hey, before the story starts, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new upload. I promise every story hits harder than the last. All right, let's begin. Let me take you back to the night everything changed. A peaceful Friday evening, the kind where families walk dogs, porch lights glow warm, and kids laugh on scooters and bikes. My daughter Lily was one of them. She was sweet, gentle, and brave, even with the physical challenges she faced. Riding her scooter was her freedom, her joy. And then Karen, the woman who treated the HOA like a private military, stepped outside with rage boiling behind her eyes. She always made rules nobody approved, always threatened homeowners. But that night, she crossed a line no one imagined she would dare. When the gun went off, my world split open. She thought I was just another neighborhood dad. She thought I would freeze. She thought my daughter's pain would break me. She didn't know who she was dealing with. She didn't know the Navy SEAL in me wasn't dead, only sleeping. Tonight it woke up. The moment the gunshot echoed, time stretched into something slow and cruel. I dropped to my knees beside Lily before the neighbors even began screaming. Her small fingers clutched at my sleeve, trembling so violently that for a second I thought she was having a seizure. Her leg, her leg was bleeding so fast I felt the warmth through my jeans as I pressed my hands to the wound. "Dad, it burns, she gasped, her voice thin and shaking. "I know, baby. Stay with me. Look at me." My voice was calm, softer than the storm tearing through my chest. Navy SEAL training teaches you to stay steady in chaos, but nothing trains you for watching your child bleed from a bullet wound. Behind me, Karen shrieked. I warned her. Kids can't ride scooters after 7. It's in the HOA bylaws. She's a menace. I turned my head just enough to see her pacing, waving the gun like some cheap authority badge. Neighbors began to emerge, phones out, hands over their mouths, but nobody approached her. They all knew what I knew. A cornered Karen with a weapon is a danger to the entire neighborhood. One neighbor, Mrs. Hendricks, whispered, "Oh my God, she actually shot a child." Another backed away, muttering, "Call the cops. Call the cops now." But Karen kept shouting over everyone. This wouldn't have happened if you people respected the rules. The HOA has standards. Standards. I almost responded. Almost. But Lily whimpered again, and the world narrowed down to her face, her wide brown eyes filled with tears. I tore off my flannel overshirt and wrapped it tight around her thigh, higher than the wound. A makeshift tourniquet, basic field medicine, something I'd done in deserts and jungles, but never in a quiet suburban street under the glow of porch lights. "Dad, don't let me die," she whispered, her voice cracking. "You're not dying. Not tonight. Not ever." I cupped her face, forcing myself to breathe, evenly so she would too. Help is coming. But even as I said it, I knew the truth. We couldn't wait for help. Karen suddenly marched toward us. "Move her. She's bleeding all over the pavement. This is HOA property, and I will not be responsible for cleanup." That's when the last thread of restraint snapped. I rose slowly, deliberately, still between her and my daughter. My shadow fell over her trembling frame. She lifted her chin like she believed she had any power left in this situation. What kind of father lets his kid break rules? She spat. I stepped forward. She stepped back. What kind of human shoots a 12-year-old? I said quietly. Something in my voice must have cut straight through her delusion because she froze. Her eyes flicked nervously toward the gun as if it might protect her. But she had no idea that I had already measured the distance between us, tracked her trembling fingers, and calculated exactly how long it would take her to raise the gun again. She wouldn't get the chance. Sirens wailed in the distance. The neighbors backed away to clear a path. Karen hissed, "You think the cops will side with you? I run this neighborhood. They listen to me. I have connections. I'm reporting you for endangerment. Your daughter shouldn't have been out here in the first place." "That's enough," I said, stepping closer. "No, and oh," she barked, raising the gun slightly. "Stay back." She had no idea how slow her movement looked to someone trained to predict them. In one smooth motion, so fast it left her blinking, I lunged forward, twisted her wrist, and the gun clattered onto the pavement. The neighbors gasped. Karen screamed like she'd been attacked by a wild animal. "You assaulted me. You assaulted me," she screeched. I pressed my foot onto the gun, keeping it away from her. "You fired at a child. That's attempted murder." "Self-defense," she snapped. She was coming at me with her scooter. "She's 12, I said, and unarmed." Karen opened her mouth to argue again, but the police cruiser screeched to a stop in front of us. Officers jumped out, hands already hovering near their weapons. Karen sprinted toward them. "Arrest him! Arrest him! He attacked me. I'm the HOA president, and this man—" "Officer," a neighbor shouted. "She shot his daughter." "She has the footage," another yelled, pointing at a ring camera. The officers exchanged looks. Things weren't going the way Karen expected. One officer gently approached me. "Sir, we need the gun." I nudged it toward him with my foot. "And your daughter, she's losing blood fast. EMS is 3 minutes out. Can you hold pressure?" "Already doing it," I replied, kneeling back beside Lily. Karen shrilled. "Why are you listening to him? I told you I have influence. My brother-in-law is a city councilman." One cop sighed. "Ma'am, put your hands behind your back." "What?" "You're arresting the wrong person." "You fired a weapon at a child," the officer said, pulling out cuffs. "Multiple witnesses. Video evidence. Ma'am, turn around." Karen screamed until her voice cracked. She stomped. She kicked. But the cuffs clicked closed, ending her reign of insanity. As EMS arrived, I lifted Lily onto the stretcher, holding her hand the entire time. "Dad," she whispered, her face pale. "I'm scared." "I know." I kissed her forehead. "But you're safe now. I'm right here." While the ambulance doors closed, a police officer placed a hand on my shoulder. "Sir, most dads freeze in panic. You moved like you knew exactly what to do." I met his eyes. "I used to be a Navy SEAL." His eyebrows shot up. "Well," he muttered, "that explains a lot." But what none of them knew yet, what not even Karen understood, was that this shooting wasn't random. It was part of something much darker. And the nightmare was just beginning. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. I walked beside the gurney as the nurses rushed Lily into the trauma room. Her fingers clutched mine until the very last second, until a nurse gently pried our hands apart so they could wheel her past the double doors marked restricted access. "Sir, you'll have to wait outside." Wait outside. Worst 2 words a father can hear. I stood in the hallway, my hands still stained with my daughter's blood. Minutes dragged like hours as the overhead lights buzzed and the muffled chaos of the ER echoed around me. Every passing second felt like a knife twisting deeper. An officer approached, the same one from the scene, Officer Daniels. He was mid-30s, sharp eyes, the kind who measured a room before he stepped into it. "Mr. Hayes," he said, gently, "I need your statement." I nodded. "Anything to get this over with, so I can get back to my daughter." He flipped open his notebook. "Let's start from the moment the argument began." There was no argument, I said. Karen came out shouting. My daughter was riding her scooter. Karen, pulled a gun and fired. Daniel scribbled. Did you know she owned a firearm? No, but my jaw tightened. A thought flashed across my mind. Karen wasn't the type who should legally own anything more dangerous than a spatula. Witnesses said you disarmed her, Daniels continued. Efficiently. I met his eyes. I told you. I was a SEAL. He cracked half a smile. You moved like one. But the smile faded as he cleared his throat. Mr. Hayes, there's something you need to know. My stomach dropped. What? Before we cuffed her, Karen kept saying you'd regret pressing charges. I laughed once, bitterly. She has no idea who she's dealing with. That's the part that concerns me, Daniel said. Her brother-in-law really is on the city council. And Karen herself? She's been involved in multiple community complaints, noise disputes, false reports, harassment. And nothing happened? I asked. Daniels shook his head. Every complaint vanished from the system. Of course. Connections. Influence. Power. How many complaints? I asked. Daniels lowered his voice. 12. And 3 restraining orders. All dismissed. A chill ran up my spine. Karen wasn't just unhinged, she was protected. And now, Daniels continued, she's claiming self-defense. She says your daughter was charging at her and that you assaulted her. My fists clenched. She shot a child. Rational people see that, he said, but politics complicate things. I stared at the closed trauma room doors. My daughter was fighting for her leg, maybe even her life, while the woman who shot her was probably already calling lawyers. Daniels glanced up suddenly as a new figure entered the hallway. A tall man in a suit, silver hair, sharp jawline, expensive shoes. He carried authority in every step. He walked straight to us. Mr. Hayes, he said, extending a hand. I'm Councilman Robert Hargrove. My blood ran cold. Karen's brother-in-law. I didn't shake his hand. You're here for her, I said flatly. He offered a polished smile. I'm here to help everyone stay calm. Karen is devastated about the situation. She insists she acted in fear. The audacity of that almost made me laugh. She shot a little girl, I said. Hargrove sighed dramatically, as if I were the unreasonable one. We all know emotions run high in neighborhood disputes. I suggest we settle this quietly before it becomes messy. Daniel stiffened. Sir, there are multiple witnesses and video footage. Hargrove raised a hand, silencing him. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to offer a solution. He slid a card from his jacket pocket. A private settlement. No charges. Medical costs fully covered. And the HOA will issue a formal apology. You walk away. Karen walks away. And this doesn't become a media circus. I stared at that card like it was a live grenade. You think money erases what she did? His smile didn't falter. It prevents unnecessary trouble for everyone. For my daughter? I asked quietly. Hargrove's smile flickered. Accidents happen. Children heal. That did it. I stepped forward, close enough that he had to tilt his head back slightly to maintain eye contact. I've spent my life dealing with men who use power to hide their sins. None of them ever walked away clean. His jaw tightened. Is that a threat? No, I said. It's a prediction. For the first time, his polished confidence cracked. Even Daniel stepped back, sensing the tension. You should know, Hargrove said slowly. You're not the only one with training. I raised a brow. Meaning? He leaned in. Meaning, Karen is not your only problem. Before I could speak, the trauma room doors swung open. A surgeon stepped out. Family of Lily Hayes? I rushed toward him. He pulled off his gloves. Blood speckled across them. We removed the bullet, he said. She's stable, but the wound is deep. There's nerve damage. She'll need time, therapy, and she may not regain full mobility in that leg. The words hit me like another gunshot. May not walk normally, may not run again, may not feel safe riding a scooter ever again. I took a slow breath, grounding myself the way SEALs are trained. Don't break. Don't collapse. Not yet. Daniels put a hand on my shoulder. She's alive. That's what matters most right now. But Hargrove, heartless, unaffected, straightened his suit and said, "I'm glad she's stable. Now, about that settlement." I snapped. "You need to leave. Now." He raised an eyebrow. "Or what?" I took one step forward, and all the softness in my voice vanished. "Or I show you what a Navy SEAL does to men who threaten his family." Hargrove blanched. Daniels quickly stepped between us. "All right, everyone calm down. Councilman, you need to go." Hargrove adjusted his tie, forced an icy smile, and walked away. But not before saying one last thing. "You're making this harder than it needs to be, Mr. Hayes. Remember, I warned you." When he disappeared down the hallway, Daniels exhaled. "This is bad. He's already calling people." "Let him," I said, my voice steel. "I'm not backing down." I looked at the trauma room where Lily lay recovering. Karen shot my daughter. Her family wanted to bury the truth, and the system was already leaning in their direction. But one thing they didn't understand, they weren't dealing with a normal father. They were dealing with a man trained to fight entire armies in the dark. This time, the war was personal. I finally stepped into Lily's recovery room after what felt like a lifetime. Machines softly beeped, and the dim bedside lamp cast a warm glow over her pale face. Her leg was wrapped in layers of medical padding, a thick brace, keeping everything still. She looked impossibly small in that hospital bed. My brave girl who loved riding scooters and shooting hoops after school. I pulled a chair beside her and took her hand gently. Her eyes fluttered open. "Dad, am I okay?" she whispered weakly. "You're safe," I said softly. "The doctors fixed you up. You just need rest." She swallowed hard. "Did she go to jail? The lady who shot me?" Forcing calm into my voice, I brushed her hair back. "She's in custody for now. But what if she comes back?" Lily's lip trembled. She was so angry. I thought she wanted to kill me. My heart dropped. She wasn't exaggerating. Karen didn't fire a warning shot. She aimed to hit. "Baby," I said, leaning closer, "I won't let anything happen to you ever again. That's a promise." She nodded, her breathing finally evening out as she drifted back to sleep. But the moment her eyes closed, the calm evaporated. I stood, slipping into the hallway, and that's when I saw the group. 3 HOA board members, people I had seen only once or twice at community meetings, standing in the corner whispering like nervous schoolchildren. The second they saw me, they fell silent. One of them, a short man with thick glasses, forced an awkward smile. "Mr. Hayes, how's Lily?" "She survived," I said flatly, "unlike your HOA president's credibility." They swallowed hard. The woman in the group stepped forward hesitantly. "We're so sorry about what happened. Karen's been out of control for months." "Months?" My instinct sharpened. "What do you mean?" They exchanged nervous glances until finally the woman spoke. "Karen has been pushing a new set of HOA rules. Extreme ones. Curfews. Quiet hours. Surveillance systems. She wants full control of the entire neighborhood. And I asked, and she's been threatening us," she whispered, "harassing anyone who disagrees, filing fake complaints, calling the police on families she doesn't like." My blood boiled. Lily had been her latest target, not her first. She said, "Your family was disrupting the aesthetic," the man with glasses added. "She talked about you a lot." "Talked," I repeated slowly. "How?" "She said you were too militant, too quiet, that you didn't respect authority. She said she'd bring you in line if it was the last thing she did." A chill crept up my spine. Karen didn't shoot my daughter because of a scooter. She did it to send a message. A message to me. I stepped closer to them. "Why didn't anyone report her?" "We did," the woman said quickly. "But every report disappeared. Every complaint was dismissed. Everything she did was legal, because the city councilman, her brother-in-law," I said. They nodded. I clenched my jaw. This wasn't instability. It wasn't a random outburst. This was a power structure protecting a dangerous woman. And I had just threatened that structure. "Mr. Hayes," the man whispered, leaning closer, "Karen is only the face of the problem. She's loud. She's unhinged. But she's not the one you should fear." "Meaning?" Her husband, the woman said, Graham. The name hit me like ice. Graham Hargrove, brother of the councilman. Reclusive, wealthy, always in the shadows at HOA events. What about him? I asked quietly. The woman trembled. He funds everything Karen does. He attends secret HOA meetings that we're not invited to. And he has connections. Connections to what? No one spoke for a moment. Then the man whispered, private security groups, off-the-books enforcers. He's been seen with men who look like professionals, the woman finished. Not the kind the HOA should be working with. My SEAL instincts activated instantly. This wasn't suburban drama. This was a controlled operation masquerading as a homeowners association. And the man added, Graham has been talking about neighborhood cleansing, removing certain families, getting a more obedient community. My fists clenched so tightly my knuckles cracked. So you're saying, I said, voice low, my daughter was shot because we didn't fit their perfect neighborhood? They nodded. I took a deep breath. Steady. Focused. Thank you, I said. Get home. Don't mention this conversation. Don't talk to anyone loyal to the Hargroves. They nodded and hurried down the hall, terrified. As they disappeared, I turned and found Officer Daniels walking toward me. You looked intense back there, he said. Everything okay? No, I replied, and it's about to get worse. He frowned. What do you mean? Before I could answer, a nurse rushed toward us, pale. Sir, you need to come with me. Quickly. My heart dropped. Is Lily okay? She's fine, the nurse said breathlessly. But there's a man at the front desk demanding access to her room. He's aggressive. Who? I asked. We don't know, but he's insisting he's family. Daniel stiffened. Stay here. I'll check. No, I said firmly. We're going together. We moved fast, weaving through the busy ER until we reached the waiting area. And there, standing with his back to us, was a broad-shouldered man in a black coat. Not a nervous parent, not a concerned neighbor, a professional. His stance, his awareness, his size, everything screamed trained operative. As we approached, the man turned. His eyes were cold, evaluating. You Hayes? He asked in a low voice. I didn't answer. Who are you? He smirked. Graham sent me. Says we can make this whole thing disappear if you cooperate. Daniel stepped between us. Sir, this is a hospital. You can't threaten. The man raised his hand, cutting him off. Relax, officer. Nobody's threatening anybody. Then he looked at me. But if you don't play smart, things get complicated. My jaw tightened. If you're here to intimidate me, you're doing a bad job. He chuckled. Oh, I'm not here to intimidate you. He leaned closer. I'm here to warn you. Daniels placed a firm hand on his holster. That's enough. You need to leave. The man smirked again, raised his hands innocently, and backed toward the exit. As he walked out, he said one last thing. Tell your daughter to heal fast. She's going to need both legs when things start moving. Daniels cursed under his breath. This is escalating. Fast. I stared at the hospital doors as they slid shut behind the man. This isn't about HOA rules, I said quietly. It's about power, control, and intimidation. Daniels looked at me confused. Why your family? I exhaled slowly. Because I'm the only one they can't control. He swallowed. What are you going to do? I looked back at Lily's room. Whatever it takes. Because Karen shot my daughter. Her family is trying to bury it. And now hired muscle is involved. This wasn't a family dispute anymore. This was war. The moment the hired enforcer left the hospital, something inside me clicked. Something old, something buried. A piece of a Navy SEAL. I once was snapped awake, like a switch being flipped. Not the soldier who followed orders, but the man trained to dismantle chaos. Officer Daniels exhaled sharply beside me. Hayes, that guy wasn't bluffing. He was trained, military or private. This is bigger than an HOA feud. I know, I said. Then we need to move carefully, he insisted. Carefully. That word used to mean survival. But now, it meant delaying justice for my daughter. I appreciate what you're doing, I told him, but your jurisdiction ends where corruption begins. And these people, Karen, her husband, her councilman brother, they're wrapped in enough power to choke the system. Daniels rubbed the back of his neck. I know. Trust me, I know. Then help me, I said. I can't do this alone. Help you how? Go after them without evidence? My career would be over. I stepped closer. Your badge means something, but my past means more. I don't need permission to defend my family. He swallowed. Hayes, what exactly are you planning? I didn't answer. Not yet. Because before anything else, I had to make sure Lily was safe. We returned to her room. She was still asleep, her little hand curled around the blanket. Machines beeped softly. A nurse adjusted in 4. Everything looked peaceful, but peace is fragile. After ensuring security was doubled on her floor, I stepped outside. Daniels followed like he knew something big was about to happen. You're not going home, are you? He asked. No. Then where? To get answers. He tried again. Hayes. But then a voice called out behind us, stopping everything. Ethan. My heart dropped. Only 3 people in my entire life call me by my first name like that. And only one of them would be here, tonight, unannounced. I turned, and there she was, Chief Marla Donovan, police chief of Everwood County, my former commanding officer, my mentor, one of the few people who knew the truth about my past in the SEALs. She walked down the hallway toward us, boots echoing sharply, posture like a commander in a war zone. Her short, graying hair framed eyes that never missed anything. Daniels straightened immediately. Chief Donovan, ma'am. She barely acknowledged him. Her eyes were locked on me. I came as soon as I heard, she said. Your daughter. Her voice softened, then hardened again. Tell me what happened. I motioned for her to follow me into a private consultation room. Daniels, seeing this was bigger than him, stayed outside. Once the door shut, Donovan crossed her arms. Start talking. So, I told her everything. The scooter, the shot, Karen's insanity, the councilman, the vanishing complaints, the private enforcer who showed up a moment ago. Her expression didn't budge, but her jaw clenched deeper with each detail. When I finished, she let out a slow, dangerous exhale. Ethan, you're tangled in something political. I don't care, I said. You should. I can't. Because it's Lily? She asked softly. Because it's Lily? I confirmed. She nodded once. Then I'll tell you what you already know. There are 2 kinds of battles. One's fought in daylight with laws and reports, and one's fought in shadows where the rules don't apply. And this one, I asked, is both. My pulse steadied. So, what's my move? Officially, she said, you stay put. Let the law work. And unofficially? She hesitated. Unofficially, I didn't hear anything you just told me. And I can't stop you from being who you are. I held her gaze. And who am I? She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You're the most effective operator I ever trained. A man who can take down a room with his eyes closed. They picked the wrong family. Her next words hit like a hammer. And if you go after them, I can look the other way. For a while. A dangerous permission wrapped in loyalty. But Ethan, she warned, this isn't Afghanistan. There are cameras, lawyers, public pressure. You make one wrong move and they'll bury you. Not if I move smarter than them. She exhaled, then nodded. Then start with Graham. He's the money, the shadow. Cut off the head, the body collapses. I intend to. I'll get you everything we legally have on the Hargrove family, she said. But it won't be much. They hide well. I nodded. I'll find more. She placed a hand on my shoulder, the closest thing to comfort she ever gave. Ethan, I'm sorry this happened to Lily. I swallowed hard. Me too. As she left, Daniels burst in. Chief Donovan was here? You know her. She trained me, I said simply. His eyes widened. That explains everything. I didn't waste another second. I marched toward the elevator. Hayes. Daniels called, jogging after me. Where are you going? To pay someone a visit. Who? Graham Hargrove. Daniels grabbed my arm. Are you insane? You can't confront a man like that alone. He has connections. Security. Cameras. I'm not going to confront him, I said. I'm going to expose him. How? I stepped into the elevator. When you've been a SEAL, I said as the doors closed, you learn how to get answers without knocking on the front door. Graham Hargrove lived in a gated mansion on the hill, a place built by money, not hard work, but manipulation. His security system was advanced, but not more advanced than my training. I parked 2 blocks away, slipped into dark clothes, and approached on foot through the tree line. The moonlight peeled through branches, shadows stretching like fingers. Movement. 2 private security guards patrolled the perimeter with earpieces and tactical vests. Not amateurs. Ex-military. Maybe hired mercenaries. I crouched behind a stone wall, plotting their routes. SEAL training was muscle memory. Patterns, timing, behavior, it all mapped itself in my mind like a silent blueprint. When the guards separated, I slipped through a blind spot between hedges, scaling the wall, silently, and dropping inside without making a sound. The mansion loomed in front of me. Quiet, too quiet. I approached a side window, using reflections to check inside. And there he was, Graham Hargrove, sitting at a desk with a cigar, staring at security footage from the hospital. My blood boiled. Then something else caught my eye. A second screen beside it. Live footage. From our neighborhood. Feed after feed. House after house. Cameras. Everywhere. And then, my stomach dropped. A live camera feed showing the exact spot where Lily was shot. Zoomed in. Angles none of us had. He knew exactly what happened, and he was trying to bury the evidence. I clenched my jaw, ready to break in, until I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy, steady, trained. I turned sharply. A guard stood there, gun raised. He smirked. You shouldn't be here, SEAL. My pulse slowed. My vision sharpened. They knew who I was. They expected me. And Graham was waiting. This wasn't a simple cover-up. It was a trap built for me. The guard's gun gleamed under the pale moonlight, its barrel pointed directly at my chest. His stance was steady, shoulders squared, feet anchored, grip perfect. This wasn't a neighborhood security man. This was someone who had seen battle and survived it. But so had I. Hands up, SEAL, he ordered, voice calm but laced with arrogance. Graham figured you might show up. Did he? I asked quietly. Oh yeah, the guard smirked. He said you'd risk everything for that kid of yours. Noble. Stupid. Predictable. Predictable. That word hit harder than the gun pointed at me. He thought he understood me. He thought he held the upper hand. He didn't know SEALs don't get predictable. We get dangerous. I slowly raised my hands, not in surrender, but in calculation. Good, the guard said, now step back slowly. I stepped back into the exact spot I needed, the exact shadow, the exact angle, the exact distance. He advanced. You think you're going to outsmart us? Graham has 10 men inside, cameras covering every inch. Your daughter's shooting was only the beginning. That neighborhood, it's just... He never finished the sentence. My movement was so fast, even he didn't process it until it was over. I pivoted left, dropping low, sweeping his legs out with a silent, brutal kick. He hit the ground with a grunt. Before he could raise the gun, I grabbed his wrist, twisted, and disarmed him in one smooth motion. He swung with his free hand. I blocked, elbowed, dropped him cold. No hesitation. No wasted motion. Just precision. I exhaled once. The old instincts weren't rusty. They were hungry. I dragged him behind a hedge, took his radio earpiece, and slipped it into my ear. Voices crackled inside. Unit 2, check in. Unit 2, report. I pressed the push-to-talk button and lowered my voice to mimic his tone. Unit 2 clear. Moving perimeter. Copy. Good. I moved toward the mansion, staying low, using blind spots and shadows the way children use playground paths. Every angle, every movement was a calculated piece from a skill set carved in war. Reaching the side of the house, I peered into the window again. Graham Hargrove leaned back in his leather chair, sipping whiskey while reviewing the hospital footage on loop. But what made my blood freeze wasn't him. It was the file folder on his desk labeled Project HOA Phase 1. Phase 1? What the hell was this? I needed that folder. I slipped along the stone wall until I reached the rear entry door. The keypad glowed red, high security grade. I tapped the guard's earpiece again. Access door code? A voice replied instantly. 6-2-4-9. Amateurs. I typed it in. The lock clicked. Inside, the air smelled of cigar smoke and polished marble. Expensive silence. Voices drifted from deeper in the house. Graham's voice, sneering, confident. The shooting was unfortunate, he said, but necessary. The father needed a warning. Necessary. My fist tightened around the guard's gun. Another voice replied, one of his hired men. And the girl? Graham scoffed. Collateral. The neighborhood needs obedience. Fear gets results. Fear. He had no idea what real fear looked like, but he was about to learn. I moved silently through the hallway. My steps made no sound. My breath was measured. My heartbeat controlled. As I reached the office door, I peered through the crack. Graham reclined in his leather chair, studying surveillance feeds. Multiple screens. My neighborhood. My home. Lily's scooter spot. He zoomed in on the shooting location. Paused the frame. Smiled. A monster in a tailored suit. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. Enjoying the view? I asked. Graham jumped, whiskey sloshing over his fingers. How did you? I raised the gun and shut the door behind me. We need to talk. His mouth twisted into a sneer. Breaking and entering? Threatening a councilman's family? You're done, Hayes. I'm not here to threaten you, I said. Good, because you won't walk out if you try. I moved closer. I'm here for answers, starting with why you targeted my daughter. He leaned back, regaining fake confidence. Your daughter? She was a message. You keep forgetting, this neighborhood is mine. No, I said quietly. It's not. His lip curled. I built that community. I choose who lives there, who leaves, who stays silent. And you? You're a problem. Hayes? Too strong-willed. Too questioning. Too military. People like you ruin suburban harmony. Suburban harmony, I repeated, by shooting children? By enforcing order, he snapped. Your girl was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Karen panicked. But honestly, I don't regret it. My hand tightened. You don't regret? No, he said coldly, lifting his chin. And I won't make the mistake of letting you walk away tonight. Before I could react, he slammed a button under his desk. The mansion lights cut out. A silent alarm beeped. Footsteps thundered toward the office. His men. 4, 5, maybe 6. I heard their boots. Their weapons. Their speed. Graham stepped back with a smirk. This time, Seal, it's checkmate. I exhaled. Funny thing about checkmate, I said softly. It only works if your opponent is playing chess. He frowned. Too late. I flipped the desk onto its side, creating instant cover as the office door burst open and armed men stormed in. Bullets tore into the desk. Splinters flew. The room shook, but I remained calm. Focused. Alive. The first man rounded the desk. I grabbed his wrist, twisted it, disarmed him, slammed him against the wall, and ducked as another fired wildly. 2 down. I slid across the floor, sweeping a third man's leg and elbowing his throat. He fell, gasping. 3 down. A fourth aimed. I whipped the fallen guard's weapon upward, deflecting the shot, then drove my shoulder into him, knocking him unconscious against a bookcase. 4 down. Graham watched in horror as every one of his men dropped in less than 15 seconds. You're not human, he whispered. Wrong, I said, stepping toward him. I'm a father. He stumbled backward, falling into his chair. You can't kill me, he said, voice trembling. I'm connected. I'm protected. If you hurt me, everything you love burns. I'm not killing you, I said. He blinked, confused. I'm exposing you. I grabbed the folder labeled Project HOA, Phase 1. Inside were documents, illegal surveillance blueprints, lists of targeted family financial payoffs, intimidation plans, police contacts, bribes, enough to destroy him. His network, his power, everything. You're done, Graham. His face crumpled. You don't understand, he whispered. Karen, she didn't shoot your daughter by mistake. My blood froze. What do you mean? He swallowed, terrified for the first time. She wasn't aiming at her leg. What? She was aiming for her head. Everything went silent. Rage, unlike anything I'd ever felt, tore through my chest. Karen didn't panic. She tried to kill my daughter. And now, with the evidence in my hands, everything would come crashing down on her. This ends now, I said. Graham's voice cracked. You'll never get out alive. But he was wrong, because the only thing more dangerous than a Navy SEAL is a Navy SEAL fighting for his child. The documents in my hand felt heavier than any weapon I'd ever carried. Heavier than a rifle. Heavier than a combat knife. Heavier than every mission I'd survived as a SEAL. Because this wasn't about war, land, or politics. This was about Lily, my daughter, my life. Graham's voice trembled. Put those files down. You don't know what you're getting into. I stepped toward him, steady and silent. I know exactly what I'm getting into. You planned to cleanse the neighborhood. You hired mercenaries to intimidate families. You covered Karen's crimes. And you tried to kill my daughter. You'll never make it out of this house, he whispered. I glanced at the unconscious mercenaries around us. I already did, I said. I snapped photos of every document, every blueprint, every bribe and plotted scheme. Then I slipped the folder into my jacket. You can't expose me, Graham said, panic rising. If you leak that, if you send that to anyone, I'll be ruined. That's the idea. Suddenly he lunged, not with strength, not with skill, but with desperation. He reached for the fallen guard's pistol. His fingers grazed the grip. I kicked the weapon away and slammed him back into the desk. He collapsed, gasping. Don't, I said quietly. Don't make me do more than I need to. He stared at me like a cornered animal. Not powerful, not arrogant, just afraid. You can't protect your daughter forever, he spat. Even if you walk away, someone else will come. Someone bigger, someone stronger. I leaned down until our faces were inches apart. I'm not walking away. His eyes widened. Then I said the words that broke him. I'm bringing everything you built down tonight. I zip-tied his wrists with the guard's restraints and called the one person I trusted, Chief Donovan. She picked up instantly. Talk. I have evidence. Enough to end everything. I need extraction and backup. Quiet and fast. How fast? She asked. Now. I'm on my way. I hung up. Then I looked at Graham. I hope you enjoyed your last night as a free man. He glared, humiliated and defeated. This isn't over. It is for you. Minutes later, flashing lights carved across the mansion walls as unmarked police vehicles swarmed the property. Officers poured in Donovan's people she trusted, people who weren't afraid of the Hargrove family. Daniels rushed to my side the moment he saw me. Holy, Hayes, what the hell did you do? What I had to. He looked at the files. Is that everything? Everything, I confirmed. Surveillance systems, illegal tracking, HOA extortion, murder attempts, cover-ups, you name it. Donovan stepped through the doorway, glancing at the unconscious mercenaries. You work fast, she said. They fired first. She smirked. Of course they did. She gestured to her officers. Arrest every man in this house. Secure all footage. Every folder. Every hard drive. Every phone. They moved instantly. Graham's face twisted in disbelief as two officers hauled him to his feet. You can't arrest me, he barked. I'm connected. You're under arrest, Donovan interrupted calmly. On charges of conspiracy, illegal surveillance, obstruction of justice, witness intimidation, and accomplice to attempted murder. He stared at her, stunned. You can't do this. She smiled coldly. I just did. As they escorted him out, she turned back to me. You just detonated a political bomb, she said. Everything's going to shake. Good, I replied. For the first time, she added, The right people might actually be afraid. We drove back to the hospital in silence. When I stepped into Lily's room again, something inside me finally broke. She opened her eyes slowly. "Dad?" I rushed to her side. "I'm here, baby." Her voice was soft. "I dreamt you were fighting monsters." I squeezed her hand gently. "I was, but the monsters are gone now." She smiled faintly. "Good." I brushed her hair back, and suddenly the weight of everything hit me all at once. The gunshot, the blood, the rage, the fight, the war I never asked for. But Lily squeezed my fingers again. "Dad, you looked really brave." My throat tightened. "I'm not brave, sweetheart." "You aren't me," she whispered, and those 4 words, from my injured little girl, did more to me than any battlefield ever had. Daniel stepped into the doorway, clearing his throat softly. "Hayes?" I looked up. "It's done," he said. "Karen's been arrested too. The footage is out. The neighborhood is already talking. People are coming forward. Families with complaints Karen buried. Everyone wants justice." "Good," I said. "But that's not all," he added. "The media picked it up. Already? Chief Donovan leaked just enough to protect you. But you're going to be in the middle of a storm for a while." I nodded. "As long as Lily is safe." He smiled. "She will be." Hours later, before dawn, Donovan walked into the room with paperwork. "Wanted you to see this," she said. She handed me a folder. Inside was a signed document. State of Everwood versus Karen and Graham Hargrove. Multiple counts. Multiple charges. Maximum penalties. "It's official," she said. "They won't see the outside of a prison cell for decades." I exhaled slowly. Finally, justice. Real. Permanent. Unbreakable. Donovan added softly, "You did good, Ethan." But I shook my head. "No, Lily did. She survived." After Donovan left, I sat beside my daughter again, watching her breathe peacefully. She didn't know everything I did tonight. She didn't need to. She just needed to wake up tomorrow without fear. Hours later, just as I stood to stretch, Lily stirred. "Dad?" "Yes." She pointed weakly at the bouquet of flowers from the nurse's station. "Pink, white, and blue. Are those for me?" I smiled. "Yeah, everyone here loves you." She smiled, a small, fragile smile. Then she whispered, "Can we go home soon?" "Soon," I said. "As soon as the doctors say you're ready." She nodded, satisfied, and as I kissed her forehead, I realized the war wasn't won because I was a Navy SEAL, not because I fought men in mansions, not because I exposed corruption. The war was won because she fought. She survived. She held on. And she gave me something worth fighting for. Always. Forever. My daughter. My world. My reason for everything. And if you're still here, thank you for watching this story all the way to the end. Before you go, I want to ask you something from the heart. If you believe no child deserves to be hurt, ever, if you believe justice should never bend for power, and if you believe a father should fight for his daughter no matter what, backhand index pointing right, hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube the story mattered. And if you want more emotional, suspenseful, twist after twist stories like this one, stories where the truth wins, where families survive, where justice hits back, backhand index pointing right, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And backhand index pointing right, turn on the notifications, so you never miss a new story. Finally, tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? And what would you do if someone hurt your child? Your comments help this community grow, and your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for being here. Stay safe, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next story.